Right, I'm not going to beat about the bush here. If you're a man over 60 watching this, I need you to listen carefully because what I'm about to share could change everything for you. I've been practicing medicine for over 30 years now, and I've seen thousands of men walk through my clinic doors, many of them struggling with something they're too embarrassed to talk about. Here's the truth that most doctors won't tell you. 70% of men over 60 experience significant problems with their intimate health, but only 10% ever find the real solution. And it's not because the solution doesn't exist, it's because they're looking in entirely the wrong place. My name's Dr. Sophie Caldwell, and today I'm going to share 5 critical aspects of men's intimate health after 60 that most men completely overlook. And I promise you, what I'm going to tell you isn't what you'll hear from most doctors. Because here's the thing, the pharmaceutical companies don't want you to know this, but the answer isn't in a pill bottle. It's actually far simpler than that. Now, before we dive in, I want you to do something for me. In the comments below, tell me your age. Don't be shy about it. Because I guarantee you, whatever age you are, whatever situation you're in, there's someone else watching this who's going through exactly the same thing. And that sense of community, that understanding that you're not alone, that's actually part of the solution. So let's get straight into it. The 5 concerns we're going to cover today are: first, understanding that this is primarily a psychological issue, not a physical one. Second, the devastating impact that certain content online has on your brain chemistry. Third, the role of loneliness and lack of connection. Fourth, a specific natural remedy that actually works. And fifth, particular exercises that can restore function without any medication whatsoever. Let's start with the first one, and this is absolutely crucial. Most sexual problems after 60 aren't about your body failing you. They're about your mind. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but Dr. Caldwell, surely it's all about testosterone and blood flow and all that medical stuff. Well, yes and no. Here's what actually happens. When you reach 60, society starts telling you a story. It tells you that your intimate life is over. It tells you that wanting sex at your age is somehow inappropriate. It tells you that you should just accept decline as inevitable. And slowly, without you even realizing it, you start believing that story. Your confidence drops. You start worrying before anything even happens. And that worry, that anxiety, that's what actually causes the problem. I've seen this countless times in my practice. A perfectly healthy man, good circulation, decent hormone levels, comes to me convinced he needs Viagra. I run all the tests, and physically there's nothing wrong with him. But mentally, he's already defeated himself before he's even tried. The fear of failure becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And here's where it gets interesting. Your brain is your most powerful sexual organ, not what you've got between your legs. Your brain. When you're anxious, when you're stressed, when you're convinced you're going to fail, your brain sends signals that actually prevent proper function. It's a protective mechanism gone wrong. Your body thinks there's a threat, so it diverts blood flow away from non-essential functions. And your intimate organs, your body considers those non-essential when it thinks you're in danger. So the first step isn't a pill. It's changing the conversation in your head. It's recognizing that desire, intimacy, and sexual function at 60, 70, even 80 years old is not only normal, it's bloody healthy. It keeps your cardiovascular system active. It releases hormones that protect your brain. It maintains your physical strength. Men who remain sexually active in later life live longer. That's not opinion, that's medical fact. Now, the second concern, and this is one that many doctors are too uncomfortable to address properly, the impact of pornography on older men's sexual health. And I know you might be thinking, that's a young person's problem. But it's not. In fact, it's increasingly affecting men your age, and the consequences are devastating. Here's what happens. Pornography provides a level of visual stimulation that simply doesn't exist in real life. It's designed to be more exciting, more varied, more intense than any real intimate encounter could ever be. And when your brain gets used to that level of stimulation, real intimacy with a real person starts to feel insufficient. Your brain has been trained to expect something that doesn't exist. The neurological term for this is reward pathway hijacking. Every time you view that content, your brain releases dopamine. But here's the problem: your brain adapts. It needs more and more stimulation to get the same dopamine hit. So what used to excite you no longer works. And real intimacy, which releases dopamine naturally but at lower levels, becomes completely ineffective. I've had men in my office, decent men, faithful husbands, who can't function with their wives anymore, but show them a screen and suddenly everything works. That's not a physical problem, that's a neurological one. Their brains have been rewired to respond only to artificial stimulation. The solution? You need to reset your brain. And I won't lie to you, it's not easy. You need to completely stop viewing that content for at least 90 days. Your brain needs time to return to its natural sensitivity levels. During that time, you might feel worse before you feel better. You might think nothing will ever work again. But I promise you, if you stick with it, your brain will recalibrate. Real intimacy will become exciting again. And here's something fascinating. Studies show that men who quit pornography report not just improved sexual function, but improved relationships overall. More emotional connection, more genuine desire, more satisfaction. Because they're no longer comparing their partners to an impossible fantasy. The third concern is loneliness. And this is particularly relevant for those of you who've lost a partner or who've been in a relationship where intimacy has faded over the years. Many older men find themselves isolated. Maybe your children have moved away. Maybe your mates from work have retired and you've lost touch. Maybe your wife passed away or you've separated after decades together. And when you're lonely, when you lack that human connection, your body responds. Depression increases, motivation decreases, hormone levels drop, your immune system weakens, and your sexual desire? It disappears entirely. Because sexual desire isn't just about hormones, it's about connection, it's about feeling wanted, feeling valued, feeling alive. I had a patient, George, lovely bloke, 72 years old. His wife had died 3 years earlier. He came to me convinced he needed testosterone therapy because he'd completely lost all desire. I ran the tests. His testosterone was actually fine for his age. But when I talked to him, really talked to him, I discovered he hadn't had a proper conversation with anyone in weeks. He was living alone, eating meals in front of the telly, barely leaving the house. I didn't prescribe him testosterone. I prescribed him community. I told him to join a walking group, to volunteer at the local charity shop, to reconnect with old friends, to put himself in situations where he'd interact with people, particularly women. And within 2 months, his desire came back. Not because his hormones changed, but because he felt human again. If you're lonely, you need to address that, not just for your intimate health, but for your overall well-being. Humans are social creatures. We need connection. We need touch, conversation, laughter, shared experiences. Without those things, every aspect of your health suffers. Now, the fourth concern, and this is where we get practical. This is the remedy that's been shared in the comments on videos like this, and I can tell you from a medical perspective, it actually works. It's called the 10-10-10 formula, and it's brilliantly simple. Every morning, you take 10 cloves of garlic, 10 tablespoons of honey, and the juice of 10 lemons. You blend them together into a mixture, and you take 2 tablespoons of it daily. Now, I know what you're thinking. 10 cloves of garlic? That's going to make you smell like a chip shop. But here's why it works, and why it's worth the slight inconvenience. Garlic contains allicin, a compound that improves blood circulation. Better circulation means better function everywhere in your body, including your intimate organs. Honey is rich in boron, which helps regulate testosterone and estrogen levels. It also contains B vitamins that boost energy and reduce fatigue. And lemons. They're packed with vitamin C and antioxidants that fight arterial plaque buildup, keeping your blood vessels clear and flexible. Together, these three ingredients create a natural remedy that addresses the physical aspects of sexual health without any of the side effects of pharmaceutical drugs. No headaches, no vision problems, no dangerous interactions with other medications. And the best part, it's cheap. You can make a month's supply for less than what you'd pay for a single prescription. I've had patients use this formula with remarkable results. One gentleman, 65 years old, had been on medication for 3 years with minimal improvement. After 2 months on this natural remedy combined with the other changes I'm discussing today, he no longer needed the medication at all. His words to me were, "Dr. Caldwell, I feel 20 years younger." Now, I'm not saying this is magic. It's not going to work overnight. You need to give it at least 6 to 8 weeks to see real results. But unlike medication that only works when you take it, this remedy actually improves your underlying health. It's not masking the problem, it's solving it. The fifth concern, and this is the one most doctors never discuss properly, is exercise. Specifically, exercises for your pelvic floor muscles. Now, you've probably heard of pelvic floor exercises for women, but here's something most men don't know. You have pelvic floor muscles too, and they're absolutely crucial for sexual function. These muscles support your bladder and bowel, but they also control blood flow during arousal and contraction during climax. When these muscles are weak, everything suffers. You might have trouble maintaining an erection. You might experience premature issues. You might even have problems with bladder control, especially at night. The good news, you can strengthen these muscles just like any other muscle in your body. And the results can be transformative. I'm going to give you 3 specific exercises you can do anywhere, anytime, without any equipment. First exercise, the basic squeeze. Imagine you're trying to stop yourself from urinating midstream. That squeezing sensation, that's your pelvic floor muscles contracting. Hold that squeeze for 5 seconds, then relax for 5 seconds. Do this 10 times, 3 times a day. It sounds simple, but after a few weeks you'll notice significant improvement in control and function. Second exercise, the lift. Similar to the squeeze, but this time imagine you're trying to lift your pelvic floor muscles upward, like you're pulling them up inside your body. Hold for 5 seconds, relax, repeat 10 times. This exercise strengthens the muscles that support erectile function. Third exercise, the standing squeeze. Stand with your feet shoulder-width apart, hands on your hips. As you breathe in, relax your pelvic floor. As you breathe out, squeeze those muscles tight and hold for 10 seconds. Do this 5 times, twice daily. This exercise integrates your core muscles with your pelvic floor, improving overall strength and control. Now here's the key: consistency. These exercises won't work if you do them once and forget about them. You need to make them a daily habit. Set a reminder on your phone if you need to. Do them whilst you're making your morning cup of tea, or whilst you're watching the news in the evening. After about 6 weeks, you should notice genuine improvements, better control, stronger function, fewer nighttime bathroom trips. I had one patient, brilliant bloke, 68 years old, came to me with severe erectile problems and an enlarged prostate. He'd been told he might need surgery. I convinced him to try these exercises first, combined with the dietary changes we discussed. 4 months later, his symptoms had reduced by 70%. No surgery needed. His comment to me was, "Why doesn't every doctor teach this?" And honestly, I don't know, but I'm teaching you right now. Now, I want to share something with you, a story that illustrates everything I've been talking about. A few years ago, I had a patient named Tom. Lovely man, 77 years old. He'd been widowed for 5 years, living alone, completely isolated. He came to me convinced he was broken. He said his intimate life was completely over, and he'd accepted it. We had a long conversation. I discovered he'd been in love with a woman 50 years earlier, but he'd broken it off because he thought she was too young for him. He'd often wondered what might have happened if he'd made a different choice. I encouraged him to try and reconnect with old friends, to put himself out there again. 6 months later, he came back for a checkup, and I barely recognized him. He looked 10 years younger. Turned out he'd gone back to visit family in his hometown, and purely by chance, he'd run into that woman from 50 years ago. She was a widow too. They started talking, reminiscing, and suddenly, after all those years, the spark was still there. He told me, and I'll never forget this, he said, "Dr. Caldwell, I never thought I'd feel this way again. I thought I was too old." But we spent 3 weeks together, and it was the most incredible experience of my life. I didn't think my body could even do that anymore, but with the right person, with real connection, everything worked perfectly. That story illustrates everything I've been saying today. It's not about pills. It's not about accepting decline. It's about understanding that intimate health at any age is about connection, confidence, and taking care of yourself properly. So let me summarize what we've covered. First, recognize that most problems are psychological, not physical. Your brain is your most powerful sexual organ. Second, if you're viewing pornography, stop. It's rewiring your brain in ways that damage real intimacy. Third, address loneliness, connect with people, join groups, be social. Fourth, try the 10-10-10 remedy. 10 cloves of garlic, 10 tablespoons of honey, 10 lemons. It works. And fifth, do your pelvic floor exercises daily. They're transformative. If you implement these 5 things, I can almost guarantee you'll see improvements within 2 to 3 months. Not slight improvements. Genuine, life-changing improvements. Your confidence will return. Your function will improve. Your relationships will deepen. You'll feel more alive than you have in years. And here's the most important thing I want you to understand. Choosing to care for your intimate health isn't vanity. It's not inappropriate. It's self-respect. It's recognizing that you deserve to feel vital and alive for as long as you're on this earth. Whether you're 60, 70, 80 or beyond, you have value. You have worth. And you deserve to experience joy, connection, and intimacy. Now, I need you to do something for me. If you found this information helpful, if it's given you hope or understanding, leave a comment below telling me your age and which of these 5 points you're going to implement first. Don't be embarrassed. There are thousands of men watching this who are going through exactly what you're going through. Your comment might be the encouragement someone else needs to take action. And if you know someone who could benefit from this information, share this video with them. This is information that could genuinely change someone's life. Don't let embarrassment prevent you from helping a mate who might be struggling. Subscribe to this channel because next week I'm going to do a detailed video on specific exercises with demonstrations that you can follow along with. And in 2 weeks, I'll be covering what happens to intimate health after 90. Yes, you can still have a fulfilling intimate life in your 90s, and I'm going to show you exactly how. Remember, your health is in your hands. Not in a pill bottle, not in a doctor's prescription pad, but in the daily choices you make. Choose to care for yourself. Choose to stay connected. Choose to believe that your best years might still be ahead of you. Because they absolutely can be. I'm Dr. Sophie Caldwell, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourselves.